It is cold and wet. I can't get out in the garden, so I'm going to make some butter. Come join me. Hey, it's Elise. I'm in the kitchen. I'm glad you stopped by. Now, I'm not making my butter completely from scratch. I did just go to the grocery store and I bought a container of heavy cream or whipping cream. If you made it from scratch, you have to have a cow that's giving milk. You have to milk the cow. You have to let the milk sit for a while until the cream rises. You have to skim that cream off. And then you're ready to make your butter. Now, butter is a very simple process. It's a one-step process with mainly one ingredient. Anybody can make butter. So, when the milk comes out of the cow, it's considered whole milk. After the milk sits for a while and the cream rises to the top, and the cream rises because the fat molecules are buoyant. Although they are a little denser, they're buoyant and they rise to the top of your container. And that can take anywhere from hours to days, depending upon variables. Like how much fat was in the milk originally, what's your temperature, what's your atmosphere, things like that. Now, once you skim that heavy cream off the top, the remainder milk is called, well, you got it, skim milk. You can use the skim milk for eating and cooking, and then you can take your cream and use it for eating and cooking and make butter from it. Very easy. Butter is a very simple process. All you have to do is have some cream and some way to agitate that cream to break the molecules down, to separate the heavier fat molecules, denser fat molecules, from the rest of the cream, or excuse me, the rest of the liquid. That remaining liquid is called buttermilk, which of course is a desired cooking staple. And you can see this is a little thicker cream. About 2 cups. This is a pint container, 16 ounces. From this, I should, not always, get about a cup of butter and a cup of buttermilk. Because nothing is really lost in the process. Now, everything has been washed and scalded, and everything is nice and clean. I've got a big bowl. I put a dishcloth under the bowl so the bowl doesn't move around. Now, I'm doing mine in a bowl with an electric hand mixer. You can use a blender, your food processor. If you have a butter churn, it's fantastic. And if you go online, you'll find all kind of little gizmos and gadgets that you can churn your butter with. Basically, in the old days, they used a container that had a lid that had a plunger going down through it. And they would stand there for hours and plunge that milk. Today, we use a mixer, a blender, food processor, or, of course, you can use a churn. And the churns you buy online today can be electric or manual. Kind of neat. But this is easy. Now, I have a lightweight mixer. If I have a heavier mixer, it would maybe go a little faster. All I'm going to do is mix this with the blender. And it's go through several different stages. Now, I'm not going to keep the camera rolling the whole time. That would be quite boring. Plus, the noise is quite irritating. But stay tuned. At the end, I'll share a little bit about the difference in pasteurizing milk and the homogenizing milk process. All right, I'm going to start my stopwatch on my phone. So I want to time it. Now, if you're not used to mixing real liquids like this, start at a low speed and then work your way up. I'll be back. Okay, we're 4 minutes in. I am at the whipped cream stage. Actually, maybe a little bit past the whipped cream stage. I put my beaters in turn the mixer on low and then gradually increase my speed. So all the time I've actually been beating this, I've been on high speed. All right, here we go. I'll be back. It's done. At 7 minutes in, I started seeing a little yellow in the cream and a very little bit of buttermilk coming out. At 9 minutes, I had butter. Now, I did slow my beater down a little bit when I first started seeing the liquid coming out. So now I'm just going to take a big spoon and I'm going to mash that up against the side of the bowl. You want to try to get as much of the liquid out as you can. Now, I'm not making a big batch. I'm not going to store it for a long time. But if you're going to store it, then what you will want to do is get all that liquid out as much as possible. Now, there's going to be some particles of the butter in your buttermilk. You can leave them, or you can use a strainer and strain your milk out. Since I'm going to use my buttermilk for cooking, 1 cup on the dot. I don't mind if I have a few little particles of the butter in it. So I'm going to go back now. And I'm going to mash this out just a little bit more. If your mixer is too set on too high of a speed, you'll get some splatter. That's why lots of the churns and lots of the devices that you buy online have some type of top on them, or they're deep enough so that the splatter doesn't go everywhere. Leaving more of the liquid in causes your butter to go bad faster. But that's it. Look at that. A big hunk of butter. I've got a little bit more liquid in here. And like I said, I don't mind if I do have a little bit of liquid. Now, when you let this sit for a while, some more of that liquid can seep out. If you want to add salt to your butter, you can add salt to your butter. But this is also the time. Now, we're really cool in here, so this is going to set up for me very well. This is also the time that you can add all kind of spices and seasonings. Basil, parsley, onion, garlic, paprika, anything that you want to add, or you can just keep it as butter. Isn't that pretty? See how easy that was? You can mold it, you can do anything you want to with it. If you're making a big batch and you don't think it's all going to get eaten anytime soon, you can freeze it. I found the easiest way for me is just to get a little glob, drop it down in an ice cube tray, and freeze it in little individual gobs. It's a technical term, gobs. And then when you want some fresh butter, all you have to do is pop it out of the ice tray. And if you've already got your seasonings in it, hey, piece of cake. So if you're cooking a steak and you want some garlic butter, you just pop a little of your seasoned butter out. If you're doing chicken and you're doing rosemary butter to baste it with, just pop some of your butter out. You can also take this and put it in saran wrap and roll it up and make little logs, butter logs, slice it off and have beautiful butter. Isn't that nice? 9 minutes, folks. All right. The difference in pasteurization and homogenizing milk. If you get whole milk straight from a cow, it's not going to be pasteurized and it's not going to be homogenized. Across the U.S., there are some laws that says milk on consumer grocery store counter shelves has to be pasteurized. Pasteurized is a heating process. And there's different forms of low heat, high heat, short time, long time, all more technical terms that I want to get into. But basically, the milk that you're going to buy off of your grocery store shelf has been pasteurized. And they do this to help kill off any pathogens that might cause a little problem. It also kills off lots of your good stuff and your enzymes. And then they turn around and add stuff in like vitamin D. Homogenize is a completely separate function. And most of the milk that you're going to see on your grocery store counters has been homogenized. And that is where they put it through some equipment that actually breaks down in minute portions all of the little fat globules or modules. And it blends it in with the rest of the milk. Your milk will be a little thicker. It might be a little whiter. It might last a little longer. It might taste a little better. But that's what homogenizing your milk is. Once it has been, the cream has been removed, it's no longer whole milk, it is skim milk. Whole milk has the cream in it. And have you ever heard that little saying that someone is the cream of the crop? Well, that kind of goes back to this, because cream was considered an indulgent. It was cream rising to the top of your milk was wonderful. For a while, way back when only the more affluent folks could afford cream. So to say that someone is the cream of the crop means that they have risen up above the rest, either a family or a work situation, an education situation, something like that. So if someone calls you the cream of the crop, that is actually a very good compliment. All right. Food historians say that milk separating into cream went all the way back to the Paleolithic era, from when people first started domesticating cows and milking cows. They figured out that if you let that milk sit for a little while, the cream's going to rise to the top. It's been a very important ingredient in cooking throughout the ages. All right, I'm going to straighten up my mess. I am going to cook with my buttermilk. Now you can drink this or you can cook with it. It's up to you. Buttermilk is a very desired component of lots of baking items because it's thick, because it still might have some of those buttery modules in it. Now this is homemade buttermilk and it might vary a little bit from your store-bought buttermilk, which has probably been strained more. And as you saw, I didn't strain this. But it is still thick. It still has globules in it, again, which I want. I'm going to make a bread product with this, and I can use this just like this with the globules. If I don't want that many globules, I can just take them out. It's that easy. Nothing hard about milk turning into butter. Now, if you buy a carton of milk at your grocery store that has been pasteurized and homogenized, it will not set into cream. The cream will never rise because it has been mixed in with the milk. So you have to start with a heavy whipping cream or start really, really back with the basics and separate your own cream from the whole milk. Very easy. When I was a child, we had relatives that had a dairy farm. And I would spend the night over there. And I remember going out. There was places in the barn, places in the field that we were not allowed to go to. But we could watch the cows getting milked. And I remember in their kitchen, there would be various pails of milk at various stages of the cream rising. And they made butter on the side. Now, this is years ago. They made butter on the side to sell to folks. And according to your state laws and everything, you can still do some of this. So you check into it and see if this is something you're interested in. See how easy it is? Now, is it cheaper? I don't know. That depends. How much did you pay for a carton of heavy cream compared to a cup or a pound of butter? And that was going to be different all across the United States, all across the world. But you still get this great satisfaction of knowing how to make butter. Great project for the kids. And of course, you have bragging rights. Throw a dinner party. You know, mold your butter into all these little beautiful shapes. You can use cookie cutters. Anything you want to. And then you have bragging rights. Oh yeah, I made my own butter. I hope you can help the channel growing by liking, subscribing, sharing. Make sure you watch the video all the way through. Hit that notification bell. And until we speak again, have a fantastic day.